significant for what we're talking about here today regarding the connection with organized crime and the cartels and all that is that, all right, welcome to the Golden Belt Buckle Podcast. Thank you for clicking on this video. You know the drill. If you like what you're seeing and hearing, then like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know your thoughts down below. And a quick shout out to everybody who has signed on since last week. I got a really good bounce from the last video I did on the Driver Inc. Model. And we're gonna continue that theme today. We're gonna talk about another aspect to this that I didn't get into last week. I try to keep my videos short, which is one of the things I'm genuinely concerned with, is not wasting your time when I do these videos. Sometimes you gotta explain things and it takes longer. So very quickly to sum it up, or rehash, the Driver Inc. and the LMIA. Driver Inc., it's a business model where a trucking company will take someone who should be an employee and they will misclassify them as an independent contractor. By misclassifying them as an independent contractor, they don't have to pay them benefits, they don't have to pay them, they don't have to pay the taxes, the CPP, vacation pay, things like that. They don't have to pay them any of that stuff. And then on top of that, they can also fire them a lot easier because they're just contractors, they're not employees, right? So that's a huge thing, that last thing I mentioned. Being able to fire someone is a method of control that these companies use on these drivers. Now, a lot of these drivers that get put on this, they're immigrants that come over from Pakistan or India, and this leaves them open to exploitation. Now, to just talk about Driver Inc. is incomplete because you also have to add on to that the LMIA. The LMIA, Labor Market Impact Assessment document. This is a document that these employers have to pay for from the government to show that they cannot find the labor in Canada to cover their work. So once they pay for these, it costs about $1,000. They turn around and this document, the prospective employee from India or Pakistan, they have this cost passed on to them by the employer. And they don't just charge them $1,000 that the government charged them, they charge them tens of thousands of dollars. So these prospective truck drivers who want to come over here from India or Pakistan, they're big time in the hole by the time they get here. Okay, so they buy this, they pay for this LMIA, and then on top of that, they're hooked up with this Driver Inc. model. So think about this, you've got tens of thousands of dollars invested in your immigration already, and you get put on with a trucking company that can fire you just like that. And on top of that, that LMIA is attached just to that trucking company. So if you get fired from that trucking company, you're going back to India and you're gonna lose all that money you just spent getting over here, because you can't just go work for someone else, right? So those two things right there are really significant when you talk about this Driver Inc. model and the LMIA. It's all about control and exploitation. Essentially, the driver is an indentured servant till they have been here long enough to pay for their, pay off all the money they spent on that LMIA, or they can get their permanent residency, right? That's the carrot they dangle over them. You give them a carrot. Here, you want that permanent residency. You're going to do what we tell you. If not, you're going back home, right? That's the whole long and short of it. So why is this significant? Well, for what we're talking about here today, regarding the connection with organized crime and the cartels and all that, is that governments on both sides of the border already know that these drivers are being exploited, okay? So these companies, after they get them over here, got them in the hole for tens of thousands of dollars, they will then force them to let's say they send them to the States, they'll force them to do interstating, which is illegal. They break the cabotage rules. This, by the way, is what drivers testify about. They'll have them break cabotage rules, take work from Americans, right? And they'll have them drive double shifts, say that their team partner is sick in the bunk. They're like, screw that, we don't care. The wheels need to get moving. They don't stop turning. You get going. Or they'll pay them wages that are below market value, or they just don't pay them at all. And in Canada, you might not realize this, but it is legal to steal from people as long as you do it according to the system, right? If I just go into a store and I steal a bunch of money from somebody, I'm going to get put in jail, right? They're going to bring me up on charges. But if I enter into contract to give someone a service and I just take their money and don't give them the service, I'm likely not going to go to jail. Even if you get these drivers, they'll take their employers to small claims courts, and they'll get a judgment against their employer, but they never ever see their money. So they will have them work for free sometimes, right? They just won't pay them. Or they'll have them drive substandard equipment that hasn't been repaired, right? The equipment's garbage, it's not roadworthy, but they'll have them take it anyways. So when it comes to drugs now, right, the fear that the Canadian and American government have about these companies is that if they're already able to exploit these drivers in these other areas, why wouldn't they also exploit them here, right? It's like credit, right? If someone's got bad credit, you wouldn't want them to be a police officer because the odds that they're going to steal are much greater if they already have bad credit. So you don't want someone with bad credit serving as a police officer, right? Because they're more likely to do nefarious things. Well, it's the same thing with these drivers. These drivers already being exploited and used as indentured servants, they're the ones that are most likely to be forced to ship drugs across the border. So that's the fear that the government has. And that's the darker side of this whole thing. And that's why the government is trying to crack down on it a little bit. At least they say, look, last video I asked if you believe the government was genuine, that they were actually going to do something about the Driver Inc. model. And you guys are like, heck no, we don't buy that for a second. And truthfully, I'm not sure I do either. And even if they did, our government has screwed the company or the country up so bad over the last 10 years, I'm not sure it even matters. But I say that just so you know I'm not naive. I'm a skeptic myself. So anyways, that's what I got today. Till next time, cheers, keep the rubber side down.